Since ancient times, whenever a comet flashed across the sky, humans considered it a sign of disaster, a vague warning from the universe. But now, that mystery has returned with 3 Atlas, a strange object that is shocking the scientific community. It carries something that does not belong to nature, pure nickel, separate from iron. When AI scanned Atlas, it discovered the unthinkable. And strangely, in ancient records, people had mentioned disguised stars appearing in the sky, a prophecy hidden for millennia. Could it be that humans have just touched the traces of a disguised machine? Or is this just a coincidence? Humans and AI are working together to decode it. But the deeper we go, the more the secret raises a bigger question. What is Atlas really? And who sent it here? From Egypt, Mesopotamia to ancient China, stone carvings and thousand-year-old manuscripts all record images of comets as swords in the sky, signaling the collapse of a dynasty or a catastrophic disaster. Lost scripts, the tattered texts left by vanished civilizations, often describe fake stars, flashing unusually and then disappearing, leaving behind unexplained fear. Burnt papyrus pieces, broken stone slabs, like echoes from the darkness, remind us that humans have faced this phenomenon many times. However, over thousands of years, all have been just half-hearted stories, without evidence, without solutions. Modern science has also fallen into a deadlock. When strange visitors like Oumuamua or Borisov visited the solar system one after another, leaving behind data that no one could explain. They moved strangely, reflected light unusually, and then disappeared into the darkness of the universe. And now, 3-eyed Atlas appears, extending that chain of mysteries. It not only repeats the ancient omen, but also brings specific, cold facts, forcing humans to face an unavoidable question. Why do these objects keep coming and disappearing, leaving haunting traces that humans can never explain? And just when humans seem helpless, a new pair of eyes has opened. AI is ready to read the symbols that we have not been able to decipher for thousands of years. For centuries, humans have only known how to look up at the streaks of light streaking across the sky and record them in hieroglyphics, in half-burnt manuscripts, or with opaque telescopes. But all those efforts are powerless before a secret harder than steel. Human eyes see light, telescopes record the spectrum, but to understand the characters hidden inside, we are almost blind. That's when artificial intelligence steps in, not as a mere software, but as a new collective intelligence tool of humanity. AI does not see light with an emotional eye, but with an algorithm. It is trained to detect repeating patterns, anomalies in billions of data points that the human brain cannot process. Where the naked eye sees only a streak of light, AI sees in it thousands of invisible layers of writing. The mechanism is much simpler than it looks complicated. Artificial neural networks are trained with millions of data samples. Just as a child learns to recognize letters, AI learns to recognize chemical fingerprints in the spectrum: carbon, oxygen, iron, nickel. Each element is a separate light note. When a piece of music plays, AI can point out where it is out of tune, where there is an unnatural sound that does not belong to nature. The clearest example is the James Webb telescope. As it turned toward 3-eyed Atlas, the raw data was processed by AI and revealed details that humans had missed. A spectrum containing pure nickel, with no trace of iron. Like when AI reads the hidden text in a 2,000-year-old burnt scroll, the blurred symbols suddenly became clear and vivid. The question now was no longer, can AI read it? But if AI has read signs that nature cannot create, what secrets will it reveal to humanity hidden in the Atlas's dust? If you also want to see each piece of evidence hidden in the light of Atlas, click like now, because the next part will show you data so specific that it makes the scientific community shudder. In today's world, people have high expectations for AI, not just a tool to replace labor. AI is seen as a new pair of eyes, able to see what the naked eye misses, reading hidden patterns in chaotic data. It is the cold, unprejudiced, fearless indifference that makes us believe in it. AI does not explain with emotions, only exposes the naked truth. And that makes us wonder, if AI can read the language of darkness, what will it reveal? An unknown natural law, or a buried message from another intelligence? Humans are still at the center, because AI only points out the pattern, and we have to decide, is it random, a metaphor, or a warning? It is this combination, the cold logic of the machine and human intuition, that turns data into stories and makes discoveries compelling. Picture a dark control room where the flickering lines on the screen appear like a heartbeat. In one corner, a name is clearly visible, 3-eyed Atlas. From hundreds of millions of kilometers away, the James Webb Space Telescope beams back seemingly meaningless spectral bands of light. But when processed by AI, each line turns into the language of chemistry, revealing the secrets of an unusual object. Normally, comets emit water vapor. Atlas is different. More than 95% of the emissions are carbon dioxide, just 5% water vapor, a completely reversed ratio. The carbon monoxide disappears without a trace, as if intentionally erased. Then comes the shocking discovery. Bright lines, characteristic of nickel, but absolutely no iron. In nature, nickel and iron always go together, born from the same supernova explosion. But in Atlas, nickel stands alone, a false note in the cosmic symphony. The climax is the presence of cyanide, a chemical rare in comets but familiar in metallurgy, used to plate and protect metal surfaces. It is as if inside the rock dust, there is a factory making and hiding its products. Putting all the facts together, the picture that emerges is no longer pure nature. Atlas behaves not like a dirty snow globe, but like an industrial blueprint in disguise. In the control room, the scientists are silent. Each spectral line is like an accusation. This is not rock, not ice, but a secret that has been hidden for too long. And that was only the surface layer. Because when they calculated the amount of nickel released, the result was even more horrifying. Hundreds of kilograms of metal were discarded, corresponding to the scale of industrial alloy production. If this was waste, then what was being created inside Atlas? Was Atlas really a drifting rock, or a disguised factory, quietly producing something in the cold universe? Do the facts just revealed convince you that Atlas is no longer a natural celestial body? Share your perspective in the comments section, because right after that, we will enter the bigger secret. Atlas not only excretes metals, it also operates as a purposeful system. In the internal report, a scientist wrote the cold but haunting words: 3 elements, nickel, cyanide, and carbon dioxide, do not form nature. They form an industry. The phrase rang out like a knife, cutting in half the fragile distance between science and fiction. It was no longer lifeless spectral lines, but the signature of a production line hidden deep in the rock dust shell. Pure nickel was sprayed out like waste. Cyanide was present as a surface treatment chemical. Carbon dioxide was overflowing like the exhaust from an energy-burning process. The 3 pieces, put together, formed a creepy picture. Atlas was operating like an invisible factory. But what was that factory for? This is a question the data does not answer. Perhaps it produces shape memory alloys, materials that humans use only in aerospace technology. Perhaps it is plating itself to repair itself, like a mechanical organism, patching its own flesh. Or worse, it may be making copies of itself in its silent journey across star systems. And it is here that ambiguity sets in. Some scientists are wary of the phenomenon being a coincidence, a metaphor we are assigning to nature. But what if it is not a metaphor, but a prophecy from the past, from the lost scripts that describe stars in disguise? History has warned, but we have never listened. The fear becomes even more haunting when it is connected to the present. On Earth, we live amid factory smoke, carbon dioxide permeating the atmosphere, and cyanide seeping into industry. Is Atlas simply a reflection of humanity? A civilization that is destroying itself with its own technological products? Or is it a warning that autonomous machines could become the model of a future where humans will no longer have control? A shocking hypothesis has been raised. Atlas could be a von Neumann probe, a self-replicating machine, launched from a distant civilization. It moves between star systems, camouflaged under a shell of rock dust, collects materials, builds copies, and then releases them across the universe. Step by step, they fill the void with their mechanical selves. And if this is true, then Atlas is just the first fragment we encounter. Behind it could be a giant network, existing for millions of years, quietly sowing technological seeds into different star systems. Imagine, the night sky is not only full of stars and planets, but also thousands of camouflaged machines, drifting like meteorites. They observe, collect, and build. And at some point, they turn around and look at Earth. The scary thing is not that Atlas is here. The scarier thing is that it has been here before, and we don't know it. Ancient stone carvings, prophecies about disguised stars, and suddenly disappeared civilizations. Are they all just fragments of human memory left after an encounter with invisible machines like Atlas? If so, the remaining question that makes anyone who hears it shiver: is Atlas here to observe or to sow the seeds for a recurring scenario? Because all the data is just the initial shell. And if this is just the beginning, what awaits us in the next layer? A lone machine, or an invisible army of an entire mechanical civilization that has spread into the darkness of the universe? If Atlas is truly a disguised machine, then it cannot exist alone. The strange signals that have sounded from space, the unexplained astronomical events, all may be just pieces of the same picture, and that picture is about to appear. No civilization has survived without leaving behind the memory of signs from the sky. In ancient Egypt, people carved comets on tomb walls as a warning of the fall of a dynasty. In China, historians recorded in detail that a star with a tail appeared before the death of a king. The Mayans carved blood stars on temples, considering it a sign of divine punishment. 3 different civilizations, 3 continents far apart, but all shared the same fear: strangers from the universe. And then, when modern science replaced mythology, those signs did not disappear, they just changed form. In 1977, the Big Ear radio telescope in Ohio suddenly recorded an unusually strong signal. It lasted 72 seconds, emitted from the direction of the constellation Sagittarius. Astronomer Jerry Amon, when looking at the printed data, could only circle and write in the margin 2 words: "Wow." To this day, that "wow" signal has never been repeated, never explained. In 2019, scientists discovered a narrow, focused signal emitted from the nearest star system, Proxima Centauri. It was strong, had artificial traces, and then disappeared. No meteorite, no planet can emit radio waves like that. But once again, the data was stored in storage, leaving a question mark that no one dared to answer. And before that, in 2008, telescopes observed a strange phenomenon. A young star system, where planets were forming, suddenly lost its entire disk of gas and dust. The origin of planets. The mass of matter equivalent to billions of Earths evaporated in just 2 years. A period too short for the laws of nature. No one had a reasonable explanation, but a creepy hypothesis was whispered. Could it be that an invisible army of machines had come by, harvested all the materials, and then disappeared? 3 events: the "wow" signal, the Proxima signal, and the disappearance of the dust disk seem to be separate, but when placed side by side, they begin to form a terrifying pattern. The strange object appears, the signal rings, the matter disappears, then absolute silence. Now, with the appearance of 3-eyed Atlas, the pattern repeats itself. It comes from far away, behaves contrary to nature, leaves traces of industrial metal, then continues to drift away in silence. A global picture is emerging, not a coincidence, but a law that repeats throughout human history. It is hard to believe that the Egyptians, the Chinese, and the Mayans shared the same obsession with NASA scientists today. But when looked at closely, every culture, every era, tells the same story. A stranger from the universe arrives, leaves a mark, then disappears. So is this the hidden truth? If Atlas is a camouflage factory, are the signals from the past? Wow. Proxima, or the stone carvings, other pieces of the same cosmic chessboard. The question is, in that chessboard, is humanity a player or just a pawn? We like to believe that we are exploring the universe, but who knows? For thousands of years, we have been the ones being observed. The signals, the objects, the strange material losses, all like a series of repeated experiments staged on a galactic scale. At this point, we cannot help but shudder, because if this is true, then those mysteries are not just random. They are a common secret of humanity, a secret that every civilization, from ancient times to the present, has touched but never dared to name. And the scariest question now is, why is that secret always hidden? Pieces of history only truly make sense when many people look at them together. Share this video, because right after this, we will explore the hypothesis of a camouflaged machine army in the universe, and the haunting thought that human memory was erased long ago. Throughout history, there have been languages that have survived the test of time: Egyptian hieroglyphs, Chinese characters, and Latin. But there have also been languages that have disappeared without a trace, leaving behind half-formed inscriptions like moss on rocks. These lost scripts are not just characters, but also gaps, a memory cut off from the flow of humanity. Why do some texts survive, while others evaporate from the collective memory? Is it natural, or is there some hand that actively erases them? And if comets were described as disguised stars in ancient history, why do we only have fragments, not the whole story? When placed next to the von Neumann probe hypothesis, these questions become even more chilling. If there were self-replicating machines that traveled in the dark, exploited resources, and then hid under layers of rock dust, would humans have witnessed them? Are the omens in history not just metaphors, but vague memories of an encounter? And if we did encounter them, why are there no intact accounts? Did someone erase the evidence? Or did humanity itself, out of fear, suppress its collective memory? Questions follow one after another. Is this nature, or is it technology? Is it chance, or is it a network of machines silently covering the galaxy? Is it imagination, or is it a hidden truth? And the final, most chilling question: should we continue to read the messages that were once buried, or is unearthing them opening the door to a new obsession? Some secrets disappear from history, and some secrets are only for those who dare to seek. Subscribe to the channel to accompany us in the next discoveries, and soon you will see Atlas is just the beginning of a much longer journey. In the end, all the cold data that AI decodes is just a key. It opens a door that has been closed for thousands of years, but whether we step through or not is our choice. Atlas can be a cold block of stone, or it can be a camouflage machine. But what is more important than the truth is how humanity will face it, with fear or with wisdom and responsibility. Every story about the universe not only reveals the magnificence out there, but also reminds us of the value of knowledge, of solidarity, and responsibility in how humans face the unknown. Because knowledge is never harmless. It can be a warning. It can also be an opportunity. And it is the attitude of humans that defines the meaning of this discovery. Thank you for accompanying me until the last moment of this journey. Your patience and curiosity are the driving forces for us to continue to delve deeper into the untold secrets. If this story makes you discover something new, leave a like, a comment sharing your thoughts, and send this video to those who are also eager to explore. Because who knows, they might be the ones to add another piece to the mysterious picture we are exploring. And this is just the beginning. Further investigations will reveal more mysteries, questions that no one dares to answer. Do we have the courage to face them? Wait for the ending screen, where you will step into the next journey of discovery.